Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Mokshasya karma apeksha nasti. There is no expectancy of any kind of action when we are talking about moksha. This is very important to understand. Kriti apeksha, or any kind of a doing, is not there. Why is it not there? It is not there. Is it better now? Yes? Okay. It's not there because this is a matter of a wrong understanding, not knowing, and therefore the action is not going to do anything. Besides, we have to see that action can accomplish only 4 things. There are only 4 things that action accomplishes. 4 kinds of things. One, you can produce something. In Sanskrit, it's called utpadyam. You can produce something. Utpadyam. And then what? Like, what is an example for this? Like, maybe some kind of a seed is put and then the tree grows. And then you can do fancy things with it. Like people who live in small apartments in big cities. They have like a little garden. Sometimes it's an upside down, I saw in somebody's house, upside down tomatoes. Yeah. Urdhvamulam adhashakam. Everything is upside down. The soil is on top and the tomatoes are hanging down. It's some, a kind of a useful way. So this is utpadyam. And then you can happily and proudly give these tomatoes to your neighbor until they start to duck when you come in. Yeah, because they are sick of your tomatoes. So this is utpadyam, one thing that is accomplished by karma, action. Then what else? What else can you do with action? Some kind of a cleaning activity. Samskaryam. So, like the classic example that's given is that of a pot. Not a clay pot. What kind of pot? Copper pot. Which is tarnished. It happens so often that people clean their attics out and they see this completely tarnished pot. And there is a little chink of shine there. Yeah. Just like the sleep state, there is a little way in which that non-wanting person, either during sleep or during moments of waking, when one is contented, shows up. So just like that, there is a little place where it is, shining. The rest of it is very tarnished and dull. So you have to take some tamarind or a rind of lemon, some rind. Lemon rind or tamarind you take, and then you rub, and then you rub again, and then you rub again. Then what happens? The genie comes out. No. Then you have a bright pot, a fantastic shining pot. And this action of rubbing and cleaning is called samskara. This is one more thing that is action can accomplish. You can clean something. And then you keep it on your showcase. And then 2 months later, what happens? You have to repeatedly do that again and again. Muhur muhuhu. And then we have one more possibility with action. Vikara. Some kind of a modification. And the classic example is dadhi, yogurt. You mix the milk with a little starter, little bit of yogurt. And nowadays there is a trend. The trend is to bring the starter from India. Why, don't ask me, you know. And then you make the yogurt. And then after that, if you want to make payasam and want that yogurt to turn back into milk, it's not going to oblige. Vikaryam. So what all have we covered? Utpadyam, samskaryam, vikaryam. And the last one is, something is away from you, you know, like even this pot is away from me. I have to reach out and gain it. Apyam. I have to go get it. Apyam. Suddenly you feel like going and eating something, and you go to, and it's only available in this particular shop. So you go to that particular shop and get that thing. Apyam. Now, that's why karma is useless for moksha. Utpadyam, moksha is not something to be produced. Like the upside down tomatoes. No. It is an existent thing which is you. It is already there. It is uncreated. It is limitless, uncreated nature of the I that is all the time here now, without complaints. This is moksha. So it's not something to be produced. So all actions that are utpadya actions are crossed out, gone. No, I think we should clean the moksha to bring out its shine because it is hidden. No, it's not hidden. No, but I don't know, I'm mukta. It's not hidden. There is something coming in the way of your understanding of it. And there is nothing to clean. Atma cannot be cleaned. That swarupa of that moksha, which is Atma, it cannot be cleaned. It is already pure. Shuddha, Buddha, Nitya, Mukta, Atma. It's already pure. What is there to purify? So that action is also gone. And then it is not vikaryam. I'm going to put Atma and Anatma together. Anatma means not Atma. Atma I, Anatma not I. Atma subject, Anatma object. So I'm going to mix the two and make special khichdi. You can't do that. Because Anatma is just an as though expression of the Atma, that it is not separate. It cannot be. So you cannot do anything with it. So for this vikarya, to make some kind of a modification, vikara, you need at least two entities. And the last we checked, there is only one Atma, non-dually one. So that's gone. Apyam, I have to go get the Atma because it is far away, somewhere. That is also not there. It doesn't have a location because it is the truth of everything. This is something, we have to understand the limitations of action when it comes to moksha, when it comes to understanding of the swarupa of the self. And so therefore there is no other way. Patha Shastram, Guru Mukhat, that's all you have to say. Study the Shastra from a teacher. There is no other way, there is nothing, no other options are not there. And then people get very, people are used to options. I'd like a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I think I'll go for that. And so when one is told there are no options where moksha is concerned, where the knowledge of Atma, which is moksha, is concerned, there are no options. You have to know with the help of a teacher, you have to know this by the study of the Upanishads. People start feeling claustrophobic. You feel like leaving the room many times. And then you bring in the Guru. Definitely there is an allergic reaction. Guru allergy. you have hives. Because this is not understood that you have to submit yourself to undergo this operation. You cannot operate this means of knowledge. It is not in your hands, because we are talking of the nature of the subject, that is you, which is not an object, that is anatma, and this subject can never be subject to objectification, can never be objectified. It's very, easy to see it this way. So if I am the subject, I can't know myself as an object. Then I have to know myself as a subject. And this is where, this whole question of Adhyāsa-Siddhi comes in. So I have to know myself as a subject. But then don't you know yourself? You know you exist. Are you here? Yes, you are here. You cannot say, no, I'm not here. And how do you know? I know, I'm here. There also when you say, I know, you don't have to check with somebody. You don't have to check the GPS of the location of the body-mind complex to say, I am here. I know I am. And I also know I don't come to an end. Ahamasmi sada bhami kadāchinnāham apriyah. This is the opening verses of the Advaita Makaranda. Very beautiful. Where the author, Lakshmidhara Kavi, says, he just puts a nice kind of a, it's in a kind of a answer and then, question-answer mode. Kind of a little establishing this Vedanta Shastra. In the short span of 28 verses, he, gives the whole vision. So, what a gorgeous text. He says, Aham asmi. Very easy to understand. I am. And how can you say I am? Sada bhami. I'm always saying I am, I know I am. And I don't need to be ratified by any other means of knowledge. Nothing. And even the Shabda Pramana does not establish the I. It only knocks off the wrong nature of the I that has been internalized. You don't need a pramana for the I. That's what I mean. It is Svatas-Siddha. What the means of knowledge does is to knock off the wrong understandings. Aham asmi. And then what? Sada bhami. I always, literally it means I always shine as what? Self-evident I. I don't need to be established by any other means of knowledge. And then finally, kadāchit na aham apriyah. Never am I unlovable to myself. Oh, up till now I was with you. Here I have to beg to differ because I find myself unlovable all the time. Even the person who says I hate myself, wait till they pass a reflecting medium. A nice glass pane like a window of a shop or a mirror. Suddenly, even if the person is 95 years old and the face is like a road map, they're in front of a reflecting medium, the footsteps slow down and they look at themselves. That is the love of the self. Here the self is mistaken for the body, that's all. That is the love of the self. That's what it is. So then, I don't love myself is a superimposition that we are going to see soon. That is just the ahankara, the ahankara's impressions, the mind's impression being superimposed upon the reality. And so he says, Aham asmi sada bhami kadāchinna aham apriyah. Asmi sat, I exist. And I am the source of all existence. Sada bhami chit, I'm all knowledge. How can you say you're all knowledge? What do you mean all knowledge? Do you know what you know? Say yes, come on. Yeah. Do you know that there are many things you don't know? Yes. So that's sarvagya. Yeah. That's what it is. You know what you know, and you know that there are many things you don't know, and therefore it is what? All knowledge. All is what? What you know plus what you don't know constitutes all. Does it not? Ah, this is what it is. And then, so, Sat, Aham Asmi, Chit, Sada Bhami. All knowledge. I know I am, and that I know, mind you, never turns into I don't know. No, but I don't know Greek. Then I'll have to ask the question, how do you know that you don't know Greek? I know. Ah, you know what you know. You know what you don't know. You're all knowing. Get over it. Yeah. And then he concludes in the second line, Brahmaiva aham atas siddham. Therefore it is siddha, established that I am nothing but Brahman. Because Brahman is also the same thing. It exists, it is all knowing, and it is limitless. And I also exist, I am all knowing, and I am limitlessly, full. Brahmaivaham atas siddham Satchidananda Lakshanam. So that which is indicated by the word Satchidananda, I am. This is what the whole thing is. So therefore, the ability to get over the Shastra allergy, the Guru allergy, the antidote to Shastra allergy and Guru allergy is a pill called Shraddha. Yes, that's what it is. It's a Shraddha pill that, takes away the Guru allergy. That is how Ashraddha is overcome. Things in the Shastra are very simple. I don't have Shraddha, what to do? Cultivate Shraddha. There is a Samagana. In the Sama there is a, mantra. Setum stara, setum stara, dustaran, dustaran. Here, what is depicted is that of a bridge. Setum stara. Cross the bridge. What kind of a bridge is it? Dustaran setum stara. It's a bridge that is extremely difficult to cross. Dustaran setum stara. How? Danena danam. Cross the inability to give by what? Giving. For the Samagana, this is very simple. You can't give? Give. How do I cross over not giving? Give. That's the pill. That's the antidote. Shraddhaya, Shraddham. Shraddhaya, Ashraddham stara. Cross the distrust with what? By cultivating trust. This is what the whole thing is. So Shraddha becomes the primary means to gain this knowledge. One of the primary qualifications. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So Viveka, Vairagya, all these things. Mumukshutvam, and then we have the six-pack. What is that? Shama, Dhamma, Parati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. So out of these three, Viveka, Vairagya, Mumukshutva, generally Vairagya is highlighted. Of course, everything goes together. And out of the six-pack, Shraddha is highlighted. That is what, does it. And so therefore, this is the only way. What other way is there, No, but there are so many methods. Catch the toes, catch the nose. That's all for Shuddhi. That is all for an inner purification to make the mind ready to receive this knowledge without any kind of a opposition, resistance, vagueness, doubt, or error. This has to be properly understood. And what does this knowledge do? Adi Shankara here says, removes adhyasa. What is adhyasa? Adhyasa is ajnana. Then why are you calling it adhyasa? This is a whole section we'll come to. I'm just giving a little, preview before we start reading the text tomorrow. So if adhyasa is indeed ajnana, then why are you using the word adhyasa? You just want to look fancy or what? You want to stand out or what? Adhyasa means, I told you yesterday, what does it mean? A throwing, a projection. Ajnana means not knowing here the nature of the Atma, the nature of my own self. And the word adhyasa is used for some very strong reasons. Adi Shankara uses the word. He's the first one to coin this word actually in this particular context. Because if we look at the word ajnanam carefully, then you see that it means not knowing the truth of the self. Ajnanam by itself cannot cause problems, really. Because all jivas have Atma Ajnanam until they study Vedanta. All jivas have Atma Ajnanam. And jiva includes dog, cat, donkey, etc. Yeah, they're all jivas. So now, if one were to say that this Ajnanam everybody has, it would be true. Dog also does not know its nature. It does not know that its name is a spelling mistake. It should be G-O-D, not D-O-G. It doesn't know. It has no idea. Yet when we look at the dog, it doesn't seem to be suffering as long as it's not abused, as long as it is not, ill-treated. It seems to be okay. You give it whatever it wants, you feed it, you take it out for a walk, find a few squirrels for it to chase. It's having a time of its life. No problem at all, it seems to be okay. And sometimes, in first world countries, dogs have better lives than human beings. Yeah. Some, even in the non-human jivas, there seems to be a gradation of papa punya. When I was growing up, there were these two dogs, these husky, there's a particular make, very ferocious. And then they belonged to the house, the people who lived in the house up on the hill somewhere, very rich people. And then they had a car just for the dog, an open convertible. And the driver would come at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A few days a week. I forgot which days. And then, nobody had even seen a car like that, let alone ride in it. Nice, some kind of a Chevy it was. And then the dogs would sit on either side and the chauffeur in the front. And then the children would gape at this sight. Here is this dog going on a nice round. And then, and the dogs would just bare their teeth and bark at us, because they are safe, sitting nicely inside the car. And this would go on. So you see, those dogs had some kind of a punya vishesha. So that's what it is. And those dogs had a happy time. Much happier time than many people, And so we see that the dogs they don't suffer in the same way. They don't strive in the same way. A dog may bury one bone for later to sit and enjoy away from the, green-eyed view of other dogs. This is just my bone. But it's certainly not going to collect bones for its puppies, its puppies, puppies, its puppies, 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 puppies for 7 generations. Human being alone does that. The dog does not seem to have guilt. Even though we anthropomorphize the dog and say, oh, it is looking sad, it is looking guilty. It's not looking guilty, it's looking how you want it to look, that's all. Who did that? And you have a rolled up newspaper in the hand, so definitely it will go like this. And then you are satisfied, oh, it is saying sorry. It's not saying sorry. Yeah. It's just, it's like engaging in approval-seeking behaviors, that's all. So the dog has ajnanam, the cat has ajnanam, the donkey has ajnanam, the elephant has ajnanam. They seem to be fine. None of them are suffering mentally or emotionally. They don't seem to want a Vedanta class. The dog is not in search of a, top dog guru, nothing. But in the human being alone, the ajnanam seems to come with a certain twist. Why? Because in the human being, it's almost like Mother Prakriti, Mother Nature gave everything. And one is free enough, free to judge oneself. So this judgment is specifically relevant only to the human life. Ajnanam is common to all. But in the human being, it becomes a cause for misery, unlike that of the dog, cat, any other animal, leading one to seek a reprieve instantly in the form of the Shastra. That's because the self-awareness is total. Uninhibited self-awareness is a gift and a curse. It's a gift because I am free, and then it's a curse because I am free enough to judge myself. This is what it is. So therefore, Adhyāsa-Siddhi. So here, Ajnanam is there, common for the animals and for the human being. But for the human being, the Ajnanam turns into Anyatha-Jnanam. Anyatha-Jnanam means not knowing who I am. For the human jiva is very costly because I become a sitting duck for all kinds of projections, wrong understanding. Wrong understanding. This is what the whole thing is. And this wrong understanding is error. Erroneous projection is the best translation for the word adhyasa. Erroneous projection. And you see, the word projection, adhyasa, is also very important because it's talking about another important concept, vikshepa. What is vikshepa? It's also kship, to project. And vikshepa, technically speaking, in the Shastra, is talking about the whole universe as a projection of Bhagavan. Yeah. The human being is also projecting. Bhagavan is also projecting. There are two movies concurrently running. This is what it is. One is the movie, the other is one's own subjective review of the movie called the Jagat. One's own review, I like it, I don't like it, and I wish it was like that, and oh no, why me, and why is this going on? Nobody loves me, and there is proof. I can show you why nobody loves me. I can tell you what's all is, problematic. All these things. This is the review, and the review is also a vikshepa. This is what Adhyasa is. Because the movie is not understood as it is. The Jagat is a projection, it's a movie. It's Bhagavan's projection. Projection means what? It is Bhagavan. And we bring in, to understand this projection, we bring in Maya Shakti. That she who, ya ma sa maya, she who is all knowledge. She who is all knowledge is a kalpita Shakti, and as though power that equips Brahman with this crown called Bhagavan. So it's Maya that puts the crown on Brahman, and then a new epithet is created, Bhagavan. That same Maya where the Jiva is concerned puts the dunce cap. Ajnanam manifests in the Jiva's life as Ajnanam, not knowing. And for the human being, that Ajnanam is always twisted, because the human being is free enough to have his or her own projections. Even the dog and the cat has its own projections. Adi Shankara is going to say animals also have some inference, some projections. If you go towards the cow, Adi Shankara is going to talk about this. Dandapanihi. Dandapanihi means what? A stick-wielding person. Yeah. Not a dandi sadhu. We're not talking of that. But a club-wielding person. And you charge at a cow, menacingly, it's going to run away. Then later on you come back with a bundle of grass. Oh, then it's going to approach you. See, that's also, the cow is also making certain projections, having certain inference, etc. But it is limited, it is finite, and it does not have the ability to create the havoc that it does in the human being, because the human being alone is free enough to judge oneself. So the whole universe itself is a projection. This universe is adhyastha. It wouldn't be wrong to say upon Brahman Satchidananda. It is a projection. A projection that is non-separate from the projector. We have to add this. Saha akamayata, saha tapotapyata, saha asrijata, saha anupravishata, saha abhavat. Taittiriya Upanishad. This being contemplated, before creation, so to speak. That's why we don't call it a creation. We call it more of a manifestation. Before creating things, contemplated. And what are the elements of this creation? Memory of the last cycle of creation. Desire. Bhagavan doesn't have any desires. Whose desire? Jivas clamoring for embodiment. All the jivas in a soupy state of non-incarnation. But desires have not gone. The desires are troubling the jivas, and they clamor to be incarnated in various ways. And so the desire and the memory become the raw materials for Ishvara's projection. Ishvarik projection. Like Vedic Ishvarik projection. Then what? Saha idagam sarvam asrijata. Everything is created. Tat srishtva. Having created everything, it's not that Bhagavan said, I'm sick of this world, I'm going away. No. Tadeva anupravishat. So everything is Bhagavan for us. Nothing is separate from Bhagavan. It has Bhagavan, Satchidananda, everything is Satchidananda, plus Nama and Rupa, a name and a form. So the name and form were created, were projected, and this Bhagavat Tattva, this Brahman, Brahma Tattva enters as, it's not really entering, but we don't have language to express this because there is no time lapse. It's not like you make a filling and then fill something, like your, whatever, modaks. No. It's all simultaneous because time is part yet to come. Space is yet to come. It's part of the projection. And so therefore what? So therefore this beautiful, benign projection is there, a perfect projection, infallible projection, governed by certain laws which are also Bhagavan. And that which is projected, non-separate from Bhagavan. Projector, Bhagavan. Everything is Bhagavan here. And so this is Bhagavat Abhivyakti, the manifestation of Bhagavan. Or we call it, in common parlance, Ishvara Srishti. And then what? That is the movie called the Jagat. And it is raining in the movie. And the person who is watching the movie takes it personally. Oh, why it is raining? Oh, that is the Jivik projection. Do you see? There is also a projection here. A micro projection. Running parallel, side by side to the macro projection. One is objective, one is subjective. Subjective means based on, again, every projection is based on memory and desire. Here also the subjective projection of the jiva, nonsensical thoughts. Nobody loves me, why is it happening to me, why me, what's wrong with me, when will I learn, this is me, this is mine. And what about that? Not yet mine, soon to be mine. These are all subjective projections. It's a projection within a projection. And this subjective projection is the cause of fear and sorrow. That's why it's not just ajnanam. That ajnanam turns into a projection, also based on memory. And what is the memory? The memory is the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind, where one thought one was hurt. All the early childhood hurts, pains, sorrows, the storehouse of that becomes the material, the raw material for this projection. And then the desire to overcome this, the desire to have this or that, whatever it is. Same thing. On the macro level, the projection also has memory, desire. Here also memory and desire. This is what the whole thing on the individual level. The individual projection is technically called pratibhasikam. Pratibhasikam. AKA Adhyāsa, erroneous projection. This is what the whole thing is. Why not say Ishvara's projection is erroneous? You can't. You can't say it is erroneous because when we start looking at Ishvara's projection, all the ways in which the web of people, animals, historical time periods, who is going to encounter who is going to marry who is going to be the offspring of who, it's just, it boggles the mind. It's mind-boggling. You can't say that it is, it is fallible at all. If I say it is fallible, that means I don't understand it. That much I can say. I can say I don't understand the whole thing. And I'm closer to being objective. So you cannot say it's a flawed projection. Because as soon as I say it is a flawed projection, That means there is a certain subjectivity there. I'm not understanding it, I'm personalizing it based on my own raga and dvesha. So this is what? This is all an erroneous perception. The erroneous perception is the cause of bhaya and shoka. Bhaya, fear; shoka, sorrow. And therefore the Upanishad takes it upon itself to do this twofold elimination, bhaya nivritti and shoka nivritti. Atha tasya bhayangato bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad. Dvaitadhi bhayam bhavati. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And then tatra ko mohaha kashokaha ekatvam anupashyatah. Ishavasya Upanishad. So some Upanishads focus primarily on sorrow and its elimination. Some Upanishads primarily touch upon bhaya, fear. It's all connected. It's not either or. It's primarily. It's very beautiful to see that. And therefore, this individual projection is the cause of fear and is the cause of sorrow. So therefore, it has to be eliminated. And eliminating the projection, withdrawing that projection itself is ajnana nivritti. Beautiful. So that is why the word adhyasa is used to separate this ajnanam, because ajnanam by itself doesn't cause problem. It is only when it is a personalized brand of ajnanam, then you start having problems. It's ajnanam with a twist. This is what is called adhyasa. And then the next thing to know about this adhyasa is that this running commentary in the form of the jiva's projection needs something, needs a surface, so to speak, upon which something can be projected. Like even our rope snake. Like even the rope snake. When the snake is projected, and where is the snake? Here. The snake is here. And when that snake is projected, there has to be something, right? There has to be something that becomes the sitting duck for that projection. It has to be a rope or a garland or a hose pipe, whatever it is. And that upon which the projection is taking place, that upon which the adhyasa is taking place, is called adhisthana. We have encountered this word before, I explained it. That which sits without moving, adhisthana. So Brahman becomes the adhisthana for the individual adhyasa. That's what it is. Just like the rope becomes the adhisthana for the imagined snake, for the rope snake. So the snake is an aropa, yeah. It's an aropa. It's a projection, superimposition. I don't like to use the word too much. Super, supra. Then you have to say, is Brahman under something? Is Brahman under the rope snake, over, above? Those prepositions don't really apply. So the word adhisthana we can learn, we can just use that. Instead of saying basis or whatever, you can say reality. So Bhagavan's projection alone becomes the raw material for the individual jiva's projection. scaring oneself in the process, and then, having sorrow. That's what it is. And this is why it is called Adhyāsa, not just Ajnana. For the Adhyāsa to take place, there should be a few conditions in place. What are they? There should be two entities, correct? One imagined and the other one perceivable, right? You should perceive something, and then you should also have something that is conjured up because of the sorrow, fear, whatever it is conjured up. Two things must be there, and you perceive something. So, in other words, without the presence of the adhisthana, the adhyasa is not possible. For any adhyasa to be there, adhisthana has to be there. So whether it is rope, snake, or the other example given by Adi Shankara is the blue sky, or even Shuktika and Rajat. Rajat means a silver coin that is superimposed upon mother of pearl. So like this, so therefore, so these two entities, one imagined, which is the subject of projection. The subjective projection must need an objective thing upon which to shine. There can be no adhyasa without adhisthana. That is the first condition for adhyasa to take place. The second condition is that the adhisthana cannot be totally unknown, listen carefully, and cannot be totally known. What does that mean? Upon an unknown rope, can I project a snake? Say no, so we can move on. Yeah. Can I project a snake upon an unknown rope? No. Likewise, can I project a snake upon a known rope? No, because I know it as rope. Why? What's wrong with me? Why will I see it as a snake when I know it as rope? So then what kind of a rope is ripe for aropa? What kind of a rope is ripe for aropa? A rope that is partially known. This is very important. This is another condition. Partially known rope. Because if it's fully known, then there is no adhyasa possible. If it is unknown, how can you have adhyasa? Therefore, it must be kind of known, kind of not fully known. Like even in our rope snake example, we always say in twilight, not in broad daylight. In broad daylight, you know you're stepping on a rope, not a snake. And if it's totally dark, it's not seen at all. So then also it doesn't apply. So there must be here, the low light becomes the hetu, for the wrong understanding. So then you go out into the garden, you step into the garden. Eek, snake, of course it is twilight. And then what? Fortunately, you have your cell phone. Why cell phone? There is a flashlight behind it. It fulfills so many other purposes. In another decade, it's going to make coffee and give. Yeah. And then you have this helpful feature. You press that torch, flashlight, and then you look. You shine the light on the snake. And then what? And then you know it is not snake anymore. Where did the snake go? It went back, it slithered back, ashamed of itself, back into the head from where it came. So, this is another condition. And what is this condition? The condition for, whose lakshana, which is indicated by this low light. So what is indicated by this low light? Not knowing the adhisthana fully as it is becomes, the sitting duck for then the adhisthana becomes the sitting duck for adhyasa, to be mistaken for what it is not. Correct? And then one more condition is that whatever you are projecting, there must have been a previous experience with that. No, but I've never seen a snake. Thank God, let's keep it that way. But you have definitely read about the snake, right? Various kinds of snakes. And you may never have seen a snake, but you have seen it in movies. Rattlers and cobra, viper, all these things. So many things you have seen in movies. Python. If you haven't done that, just switch on National Geographic. Wild things or something like that. And then you will see. And so, that is already there. Where? Because it has been experienced. A previously experienced thing. Seen in a place where it is currently not. Is one more condition for what? Adhyasa. Very interesting. So how many conditions are there? 3. So this we have to remember. So first is, there should be an adhisthana. And second, the adhisthana must only be somewhat known for there to be an error. And the erroneous imposition or superimposition must have been encountered elsewhere, either in memory or in the movies or through prior experience. Then only the conditions for adhyasa are ripe. So the rope snake, of course, is a very common drishtanta to have this explanation of adhyasa. But then we have to look at what it exemplifies. What is the darshtanta? What is it exemplifying here? It is exemplifying something very important. Atma and Anatma. Atma is what is called aham pratyaya gocharaha. Aham pratyaya gocharaha means that which is known through I cognition. As in, I am, I exist, I know I am. I. And we have seen in all these classes building up to this, what have we seen? We have seen that this I is unlike any other thing in the universe, because all other things are established by a means of knowledge. The I is svatas siddha. It doesn't need to be established by a means of knowledge because it already is. So it's unlike anything else. All other things have to be established by a means of knowledge. And who does that? I alone has to do that. I alone has to do that. Why do you say I has to do that? Because this is how we have to see it. The I has to establish everything else, which is called anatma, not I. And the not I is seen, is understood as idam pratyaya gocharaha. All objects come under the purview of this cognition. That which is known by this cognition. And this cognition and I cognition have nothing to do with one another. I cognition is the cause of this cognition. This cognition is not the cause of I cognition, because the I cognition does not depend on this cognition. This cognition depends on I cognition. So the two are completely, have nothing to do with one another. So idam pratyaya gocharaha, all kinds of objects, this light, this, this fan, this light, this mic, this table, this chair, this room, this. And who is saying? I. So without the I, there is no this cognition at all. It is not possible. Leading us into, what? Deliciously Zen territories. Like, what is that famous koan, or however you say it. How do you say it? Koan or koan? Koan? Yeah. Not ice cream cone, okay? Yeah. Zen koan, like a sutra. If a redwood tree, or any tree, big tree, falls in the forest, will it make a sound? These Zen masters have it very easy. Here we take meditation, satsang, three classes a day, and we talk. They just, one class for them is just asking this. And then the student goes like that, blinks a few times, and then the teacher says, don't come back until you have understood this. Nice, So what is the answer? If a tree falls in the forest, is there a sound? Huh? So we have pakshadvayam, two kinds of, answers can be there. You can say, yes, there is a law of physics that if something falls with a particular kind of a velocity and then it, it will make a crashing sound. You can say that. Of course there will be a sound. Then we can get all Vedantin on that physics. Physics runs away. Yeah. Because it's based on inference. And it's not a pramana here. So what does Vedanta say? Vedanta goes one more step above this, beyond this, and says, if there is no one to hear, can it be called a sound? If there is no pair of ears to call the sound a sound, I heard this horrible crashing noise. If there is nobody to say, then does it constitute a sound? Can sound exist without a pair of ears? Very interesting. You have to say no. It can't be called a sound because I am the one who says it is a sound. The ears hear, but there is something behind the ears that make the ears hear. Tad brahma tvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. That is Brahman. That which powers the ears and blesses them, so to speak, to hear. Blesses the eyes, blesses the sense organs to do their jobs without itself undergoing any change. And so the subject-object is very interesting. So the hearer, and then what? I am the hearer. And that sound, what causes that sound? That is also Brahman. And what is that, the pair of ears which heard the sound? Brahman. The hearer is born as soon as the sound is cognized. The hearer, Brahman. The object of hearing, Brahman. And the means of knowledge called ears, Brahman. And what is Brahman? Neither the hearer, nor the heard, nor the means of knowledge called hearing. It morphs as the hearer, it exists as the heard, it exists as the means of knowledge simultaneously without being any one thing. This is what is called limitless. So really speaking, what is there in common with, for example, the hearer and the heard? Nothing. One is dependent upon the other. Hearer here, on this, where this example is there. The one who hears the crashing sound is conscious, chetana, and the sound itself is what? jada, inert. Hearer, conscious, sound, inert. And therefore what? Therefore, this, this leaves us. At the beginning of the Adhyāsa-Bhāṣya, where Adi Shankara starts off by saying that they don't have any connection with one another. What? The I cognition and the this cognition are not equals. They are not two cognitions on a par. One is the cognizer, the truth of whom is Satchidanandam Brahma. The other one is also Brahman. But it is what? It is a projection. It's a projection. Which is Satyam? But it is a projection here, which is a dependent reality. Mithya. Mithya means dependent reality. Vyavaharika satta, another word. Mithya and Vyavaharika satta, transactional reality, dependent reality, which is totally dependent on the adhishthana. Therefore, the definition of mithya is adhishthana ananyat, first definition. Non-separate from the adhishthana because it relies on the adhishthana for its very being, just like the sound relies on the pair of ears for its very existence. Then the second definition of mithya is what? Satya and, Sat and Asat. It's hanging like Trishanku in between Sat and Asat. Sad Asat Bhyam Anirvachyam. You cannot say it is Sat. You cannot say it is Asat. You cannot say it is existent, self-existent, it is not. Yet you cannot say it is non-existent because it is heard. This sound of the crash is heard, so it is not non-existent. It's got a funny existence. And this is what is mithya. And what are you? Satyam. And technically speaking, really speaking, there should be no mix-up between I cognition, the product of I cognition, which is myself, and the products of this cognition. There should be no mix-up. Yet somehow there is a big mix-up leading to what is called samsara. And how that takes place and what is this adhyasa, we will enter the text tomorrow, and hopefully you've had a chance to practice some of the chants. We'll say the Shanti mantras and enter the text tomorrow in the morning class. Evening we will continue with the Kaya Vidambana. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.